Today I'm back on the SP404 Mark II and I really want to try and make some kind of classic sounding hip hop today. I found this little jazz sample which I think sounds really cool and I want to try and integrate this. Now as I've only got that single chop like that, this is going to be quite a repetitive beat, so it's probably going to be most suited to backing someone that's rapping. It definitely needs some flows over the top to keep it interesting, but that's the direction I'm going to head in today. I'm just going to build something around this loop. So first of all, let's just repitch this to make it sound a little bit darker. We'll go for sort of -4, -5. -5 sounds good. Yeah, really like that. So that's added a little bit more flavor, a little bit more character. And the next thing I'm going to do is import a drum break. So we'll go to Shift and 14 to import from SD card, sample, and I've got some breaks. I really like this one. And we need to make that a perfect loop, so let's go to start and end. We'll turn on 0 snap. Okay, and it needs to be somewhere around here. That should do it there. Perfect, so we'll truncate that. And I don't think I'm going to use the pattern area for this particular beat, but after this video, I might go ahead and put it in the pattern area and build the whole beat up properly. But for now, I think I'm just going to use Resample and play around just in these pads here. So we've got these two sounds now. And yeah, we're already getting a bit of a vibe there. One thing that I'd like to do is down pitch the drums a little bit. Again, just to add a little bit more character, make them sound a little bit different to the original. So we'll come out of this, we'll select that sample using the wheel, and we'll go to pitch and speed, and we'll hold down shift, and we'll change the pitching mode to backing. This is going to let me repitch it without changing the tempo. So I'm going to go -2 on this. Maybe just -1 actually, let's have a listen. -2 sounds pretty cool. Okay, nice, that's sounding pretty good. So I think the next thing that we need is obviously some low end. There's nothing in there at the moment apart from the kick, which is not going to be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and import another sound here. I've got a series of bass notes. I'm going to try this 808 actually and see how this works out. And what we'll do is go to shift and pitch speed, which is envelope. And we can put a release on this to make it fade out nicely, and we can change the hold as well. There we go, something like that sounds nice. And now we just got to make it match with that. There we go, I think we got it there. So it's -7 that needed to be pitched to. And we've got the sample at -5. We've got the drums at -2 as well. So everything's been down pitched so far. But that's how you get that grit and texture, I think. So something like this is going to start sounding pretty nice now. And I think the bass is just going to be like that. That's actually a method I covered in a different video not too long ago. It's kind of a Cypress Hill thing where you just hit the bass on the first note of the bar and just do that repeatedly, and that kind of fills out enough low end. So I'm pretty happy with that. So what we'll do is go ahead and try and resample this loop. Okay, so that should just be a little bit too much, and then I can trim it to get it looping perfectly. There we go, so we can find the endpoint. And we can see it quite clearly on the waveform that it's going to be around here again. And we'll turn on 0 cross snap again. And that should be right again. Yeah, that's got it. So we can truncate that again. That's quite nice with that 808 because we can still hear that jazzy upright bass in the rest of the loop, and I think that works together quite nicely. See if you can hear that upright bass in the background. Okay, that's sounding pretty cool, and what I'm going to do now is actually use my guitar, my electric guitar, to record a little note that I can play over the top of that. This is something I hear a lot in Wu-Tang tracks. They kind of get these little guitar notes. They're probably sampled, to be fair, but I'm going to actually play it in. And yeah, it just adds something a little bit different, doesn't it? A little bit of interest. These little nuanced things that you put over loops really push your beats to the next level, I find. If I just left it like that, there's not really too much going on. But if I start adding these little intricate things over the top, it's going to start sounding pretty nice. So I need to find the right note. And that note sounds pretty good. I think it's an E sharp. I'm just going to bend it a little bit like that. And what I'll do is after I've recorded that in, I'll add some effects to it using the SP as well. So let's record this. Nice long tail on it. So we can turn that off now and unplug this. And let's go ahead and find a start point of this guitar stab. You can see it quite clearly on the waveform here. Not left-handed, so trying to use my left hand to do this for some reason. There we go. There's a bit of crap on the top of that, but I think once it's under the beat, it'll sound okay. So we'll just adjust the volume. And I think I'll probably just put a little bit of reverb on that. So we'll go to page 2 in the effects, reverb. There is another reverb effect as well called SX reverb, but I'm just going to use the normal reverb here on page 2. Yeah, like that. So what have we got there? Hall 2, 54 and 67. And that's my second page 2. Low cut 100 Hz, high cut 6300 Hz. I think they're just the defaults. So we'll resample that. Nice, and I can add an envelope on that to get the tail sounding cleaner. So let's do that next. There we go, that's nice. I put a 91 release on it. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is import a couple of sounds from my LOFI Drums V.6 pack just to add a few more layers. I really want to do this thing with a shaker, which I think is going to sound pretty cool. So we'll import, sample, SP vids. You can see all my packs here, which are available on spvids.com, or use the links in the description. If you want to support what I'm doing here, I'd really appreciate it. So perks, bunch of perks in here. This is the one I wanted. So we'll import that. And I'm going to get a voice stab as well, which I've also got in this pack. Yeah. I've used this one so much now, but I really, really like it. So we'll import that as well. Let's come out of there now. And what I want to do with the shaker is leave it out from the start of the loop, but then introduce it at the end to add a bit of an accent. You'll see what I mean when I do it. I just need to lower the volume of this. And I want to pitch it down because it's quite high pitched. There we go, that sounds pretty nice. Again, down pitching everything on this beat, aren't I? That's the effect that I want, so it's kind of this 1, 2, 3, and then the third hit hits when the loop starts again. I think it adds a really nice accent. So let's go ahead and get that resampled. Okay, there we go, and we need to find that loop point again. This is the annoying thing about resampling, but I don't know, it's kind of fun at the same time as well, so let's check this out. I think it's going to be around here again. Oh, now that's actually cut off the last shaker sound. So I need to do the shaker sound at the start of the loop once, and then twice at the end. This is going to be quite complicated. Let's see if I can do this. So it's got to be... That's it, that's the pattern I need. So resample again. I've got that wrong, I've missed it. So now it will hit on that first one when it loops back around because it's at the start of the loop now. And we need to adjust the start point of this a little bit. Yeah. And maybe we'll do some reverb as well. Yeah, that sounds nice. So resample. Yeah. One last thing I want to do is add some effects. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put 404 vinyl sim on everything. It just adds this kind of weird lo-fi sound that I always like. My settings for that are frequency 20, noise 0, wow flutter 56. I just like what that does to samples. And then I'm going to add compression as well. So we haven't had any compression. And on bus 3 and 4, I've got compressor and 303 vinyl sim, which is just acting as another compressor. So it's like two compressors basically. So let's have a little jam with all that on as well. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I think that was really fun to include the guitar, make an idea from a very, very simple sample, add some stuff from my LOFI Drums V.6, add some low end as well. Hope you enjoyed it and got some inspiration, and I'll see you again in another video very, very soon.